Welcome to Daybreak Interactive. Now, before we get the conversation on the way, a quick reminder, you can watch the show on the go. Join our YouTube live stream, join our Facebook live stream. Also follow us across our social media platforms to catch up and stay in touch with us. You can also visit our website, trusttv.com, for the latest news and documentaries. All right. In the spirit of this year's Children's Day, we're focusing the conversation today on the state of, well, basically our public school infrastructure, especially at the community level. Now, I'm going to show you a viral clip that has been making the rounds over the past few days, showing what appears to be the only seeming school structure in a community, according to the person in the video, in the northeastern part of the country. Now, while we cannot independently verify the authenticity of the location, we can all agree that this is the reality that we have across many other societies and communities, especially at the rural level in the country. So take a look at this video as we get the conversation started about the state of school infrastructure across our communities in Nigeria today. And let's also reflect on what that says about the future of the next generation that are coming up, especially at the rural level. So let's just take a look at this video.
I'm stuck. This is a primary school and even the junior secondary school in one of the states in northeast Nigeria. Okay, it's interesting to know that this is the GS1 class. Am I right?
Yes.
This is GS1 class, and then this is what? Primary what? This is primary 4 and 5. Please come close. Let us see the building. Let us see the board. This is primary 4 and 5, and then we will go to the other classes. Please let us see the building. This is what they have as building, and then we have primary 3 and 4 here. This is primary 3 and 4. We have the primary 1 here, or the KG, and then there we have primary what here? Primary 1 is here, and KG. Okay, and then it may interest you to know that this is a school that is under the state government. Like I said, it's one of the states in northeast Nigeria. I wouldn't want to mention the state, so that the state will not see us as putting them in bad light. We are calling on well-meaning Nigerians to support these children. It may also interest you to know that the children in this community.
Well, that is just part of the clip that has clearly enraged a lot of Nigerians who are maybe for the first time seeing situations like this. But if you travel across so many communities, I mean, they might not be, attending classes in attached structures, but there are some similarities with regards to the state of primary schools, secondary schools, especially at the local level. So let's talk about it. What can you tell us about the state of the school infrastructure in your locality and what needs to be done to address some of those gaps? In those videos also, you pointed out something that has also become part of the tradition of this decaying system, where you have one teacher conduct classes for primary 1, 2, 3, up to 5, as well as the junior secondary school itself, showing us that those gaps still remain unaddressed, unmitigated, and they continue to signpost the decaying public education sector in the country. So let's start the conversation. Give us a call. Let's have your say on this one. The number is shown on your TV screen. What is your take about the state of school infrastructure in the various localities across the Federal Republic of Nigeria, especially the ones that need to be addressed? What are those gaps, and what does the government need to know about the state of the school in your locality? If there's any issues that you want to raise regarding the functionality of those schools, of those structures, and what needs to be done, feel free to give us a call. We'd love to hear your take on this one. The numbers are shown on your TV screen, and you can select anyone. Rules of engagement, by the way: turn down the volume of your TV set while calling in, because we'd love to have a direct conversation with you regarding this all-important issue, especially looking at how it is going to shape the next generation of Nigerians. I mean, look at those kids just, sitting around in what appears to be a thatched structure that is not protective in any sense of the word. Let's speak to our first caller then. Hello, good morning, and welcome to the program. Your name and where you're calling from.
Good morning, I'm Shatima by name.
Shatima, good morning to you. Where are you calling from, Shatima?
I'm calling from Maiduguri.
Okay, you're calling from Maiduguri. So clearly, all the 6 northeast states are suspects in this one, because the man in the video did not clearly specify where he's from. But what is your take on what the video that we just saw?
That's my concern. You could not have hide the state. You could have rebuilt the state, honestly.
Yeah. Because
these governors, they have been giving them money in respect of all these educations.
Right.
Myself and all of you, I believe we have undergone a public education.
Yes.
We are all beneficiaries of public educations. And honestly speaking, how can a child in Nigeria can learn in that environment? It's a pity. Nigeria is not a poor country. We all know. Honestly, to handle education properly, we cannot do that. We are just killing the country.
Right.
You could have revealed which state is this.
Yeah.
So that people, they take note on that state. Honestly, this is my contribution.
Thank you so much, Shatima, for calling in. I appreciate you for taking the time. And
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And I think we're all in agreement with regards to how distasteful this looks. But to be honest with you, when it comes to education, I've had a fair experience of traveling from state to state to do some projects. And this doesn't come to me as any surprise at all. I know there are a lot of people who find this jaw-dropping, but there are several schools. Take a look at this one, for instance. We all know that there are so many instances where students sit under the trees and, receive classes, right? We have things like this. You have other, seemingly modern buildings, but the rooftops are blown out, no windows. Look at this one, for instance. Even the ones that seemingly look modern are not in a very good shape. Let's speak to our next caller. Hello, good morning. Welcome to Daybreak Interactive.
Hello, good morning.
Welcome to the program. Your name and where you're calling from. Please turn down the volume of your TV set, sir.
Yeah, I have turned off the volume of my television.
Okay, your name again and where you're calling from.
My name is Ahmed Gital. I'm calling from Federal College of Education, Zaria.
Okay, Ahmed from Federal College of Education, Zaria. Go ahead, please.
Okay. You see, if you look at it, I buy the idea of Shatima, who came from Maiduguri.
Yeah.
Somebody in education, once look at that picture, is very devastating and very, very unfortunate. But only one, we don't know the location. For learning at that one, with all these resources, with this money pumping in education, though not adequate, but still we still have some people who are even learning under that condition. That is really very unfortunate.
Yeah.
And I think wherever and whoever the governor is seeing, they know the state. They know where they are. They should salvage education before the whole world will descend on them. It's unfortunate. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ahmed. I appreciate you for calling in from Zaria this morning. And I must say that you can expect a lot of people to re-echo the same thought and the same position about the failures of government at the federal, at the state, and at the local level. And we're speaking about local government autonomy, for instance. I mean, education is on the concurrent list where everybody chips in, right? Because we understand how important education is to the sustainability of our growth and development and to the preservation of our way of life. Because without education, we cannot impact the kind of knowledge we want for the next generation to have going forward. Because education not only informs you, it arms you with the necessary knowledge as well as skill sets so that you can be able to become a productive member of society. But, exposing children, to that level of, lack of proper education environment itself is quite counterproductive. Let's speak to our next caller then. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Welcome to the program. Your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Aminu Usman Allah, calling from Jamaica. Good morning.
Aminu Usman Allah from Jamaica in Yola. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. Go ahead, please. Hello, Aminu.
Yeah, I think first of all, I want to predict where this school comes from.
Okay.
It should be either between Adamawa State and Taraba State.
Okay. Why are you so certain that it's between Adamawa and Taraba?
Because of the texture of the area, the terrain of the area, and the pupils I saw on the video, the teacher himself, and the students, they definitely they must have come from either Adamawa State or Taraba State.
Right.
There is no two ways about it.
Okay.
So the problem is that long before now, this problem has been lingering for a very long period of time. We have so many communities in our areas where, aside from on election day, that was when government knew that those people that are living in that area are existing. They will send ballot boxes and policemen and officials and conduct elections. After 4 years, you can never see any government presence in that area. So it's not surprising to see something like this. Don't be surprised this community doesn't have hygiene water. They don't have anything. Primary healthcare system is not existing in that place.
Yeah.
So definitely the government knows this. We don't need to be wasting our time. I would have loved for the person that went for that investigation to mention the name of the state.
Yeah.
That is also true. For the authorities to know that yes, they failed, and the world is watching them. How imagine this 21st century? Look at this environment. You call it school. Abdul, let's be realistic.
Yeah, I quite agree with you on this one. Yeah.
I'm even short of words. Seriously.
Yeah.
I'm short of words. Yeah. Seriously. Because I was born and brought up as somebody from a poor background. All this. I went to a public school, but it wasn't as bad as this.
I mean, if you're to give a suggestion about what needs to be done to address these gaps, especially with regards to the infrastructure itself, because there's also the issue of how there's just one teacher to take care of all of these students, and I believe that is an impossible job to do. Even no matter how good the teacher is, it's an impossible task to teach primary 1 to 6 and just 1 to 3 at the same time. What do you think needs to be done about these gaps that we're seeing in our communities today?
Education sector is one sector that have long been neglected, more especially since the return of democracy in 1999. It's a place whereby the politicians do compensate themselves with political appointments, Anybody that fought for your party and what have you just employ him irrespective of his qualification.
Right.
So you expect these type of things to happen. There is a need to overhaul the entire institutional structure.
Yeah. Aminu, thank you so much for those invaluable thoughts and opinions of yours. Really do appreciate you for calling, and I do hope you have a great day ahead. Thank you so much for calling in, Aminu. Aminu there calling in from Jamaica and Yola, and obviously his frustrations are quite telling about, what the situation has come to be over the past 2 decades or so. We've seen a consistent decline in the quality of, the school infrastructure, the quality of education, the quality of teachers, and so on and so forth. Let's speak to our next caller on the program. Hello, good morning. Welcome to Daybreak Interactive. Your name and where you're calling from.
Good morning. My name is Idowu Samuel. I'm calling from Kogi State.
Did you say Idowu Samuel?
Yes.
Good morning, Idowu. How is Kogi this morning?
Kogi is fine.
Okay, go ahead, please.
The problem with primary education in our locality is that the government, especially the state governors, they have decided to use this as their milking bag. If not, teachers are not being employed, you discover even the dilapidated state of that school, only one teacher. What happened to our young graduates who read education? These teachers are not being paid. Some states are even paying 30%, 40%. So people are even losing interest in education. The governors are milking the local schools dry. Honestly, until they have an autonomy, they will not be able to break through. Because if you look at the state of education, it's not only the northern states. Apart from the major cities in the township, if you go to a rural community, everywhere in Nigeria, you discover that this kind of schools are everywhere.
Yeah.
So until they get that local government autonomy, and the local community will be able to do something, because the government will be closer to the community. It is no longer a governor's affair. It's no longer a state affair. The local government will be able to provide for the immediate need of the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ido, for your contribution on this one. I appreciate you for calling in. Do have a great day. And I think he's raised an important point, talk about local government autonomy, because you'd imagine that if the local governments are that autonomous, are independent, and the local government chairmen are elected based on certain electoral principles that we can all attest to, where people actually did partake in the voting process and that person has the mandate of the people, you can imagine that some of these issues will not be there. And I think he made a very good point to connect, the dying powers of the local councils and the overbearing approach of the governors to this particular problem we're seeing right now, because the governors sometimes bury their head in the sand and pretend as if these problems don't exist. But we all know, just as he said, north, west, south, east, everywhere you go, across so many communities in Nigeria, you are definitely bound to find schools like this, or structures like this pretending to be schools where students are being given lessons. Hello, good morning, and welcome to the program. Your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Raymond. That's where we from Taraba State.
Raymond from Taraba. Good morning, Raymond. Go ahead.
Morning. How are you doing?
Go ahead, Raymond.
Hello?
Hello, Raymond. You're still there? Go ahead.
Yes, I discovered the problem of Nigeria is on the governor. Yes?
Yes, go ahead, Raymond. Go ahead.
It's on the governors. I thank God now federal government dragged them to court, purposely because of the local government autonomy. Because look at all these names. It's because that governor are still control of the local government money. Or let me just say, local government whatever. I think that it gives the local government autonomy, local government will be able to control this thing perfectly. All these fiscal projects, we will be able to see it clearly, and will make every citizen portable and availability of education perfectly. So this major problem is from the governor. Please, governor are the problem for this country, governor particularly. So that's my take.
Thank you so much, Raymond, for calling in. And, I can't disagree with you on that particular point also, because there's so many of them who champion themselves about addressing the gaps in education. But how can you really feel comfortable about being a champion of education when there are multiple communities that have schools like this in your locality? My goodness, it's 2024, ladies and gentlemen. We can't have schools like this. I mean, even in the 80s, I bet schools were in a better condition than this. Even in the 70s, the 60s, when education was not that popular across our rural areas. Now we have seen the value of education. Now we understand its role in our society, in our system of governance. And it's 2024. No chairs, no structure. I mean, we're in the rainy season. So what happens when it rains? Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. My name is Ayodele Tunde Peters from Kogi State.
Ayodele Tunde Peters from Kogi. Good morning. Go ahead, Ayo.
This way. Yeah, the thing is, if the person giving us this report has been courageous enough, permit me to use that language, to let us know which of the states it is. Because the truth is that most of these are our governors. When election comes, some of them, for 30, 20, 15, 10 years, they have left their home state. Only when election is approaching, they come, form good man, and before you know, they pick tickets to contest for an election. So some of them, as a matter of fact, they don't know some of these towns and villages. Only when campaign comes, they will not still go to this hamlet. They go to local government headquarters to do their campaign, and after the election, you don't see them, they don't know anything about the place again. So if we know the state where this type is happening, or where we have this type, we know the governor himself may not be aware of this. I'm telling you this, it can be. The governor, they don't know much of their state. So if we know the state, the governor probably may be on her or be privileged to have somebody close to him that is watching this program right now. Let me tell him that something like this is in our state. And the local government chairman, I don't know how, in my local government, if I have somewhere like this or something like this in my local government where I hail from, honestly speaking, I will walk up to the local government chairman and tell him that this is unjust, this is inhuman, because federal government, okay, I'm praying, let me round up this way, that I'm praying that our court, since federal government think it is by going to court, for court to make a pronouncement on local government autonomy and all of that is the way out. I pray that the court will be gracious enough to come up with what is already in our constitution, to give federal government go ahead to do the needful. Let local government money come directly to the local government. By so doing, all of this, we may not get 100%, but if we get 90% of this our problem solved, Nigeria will be a better place again for every one of us. I pray God will help us, and the state governor where we have this, I pray that God will take this to his notice.
Thank you so much for calling. I appreciate you for joining the conversation, and I do understand where you're coming from. I know that sometimes as leaders, they might not be aware of every problem, but also it's an inexcusable point to the governors to say, I don't know about it, because your job is basically to know where the problems are and to fix them. You can say, okay, your resources are limited and you're taking them piecemeal, but it is very important to address some of these urgent concerns. And we've seen that with even banditry, for instance, because it is happening at a rural level. You get a sense that government is not, putting enough effort and pressure to address some of these gaps because they exist at the rural level. Now, I'm not painting all the state governors or even the past administrations with one brush, but I think we can all agree that it has left much to be desired, because this is a problem that has been experienced by multiple administrations in the past. For instance, that particular school, it wasn't as if they had a very decent school in the past and now they're using this one. They've been using this for God knows how long, right? And these are communities where probably if you go to that community, you find a befitting mosque or a befitting church, because you can see from the buildings behind that there are modern houses in there. So how is there not a decent school for the children in that community? And I must say that we're using that as a signpost to talk about a larger issue, because if you go to other communities, I'm very sure you would find other conditions that are unacceptable for a 21st century society like the one we have in the country. So let's talk a little bit more about that. I'd love to hear a lot more of people's experiences from their own locality. Let's speak to our next caller then. Hello, good morning. Welcome to the program. Your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Joey. I'm calling from Ilorin.
Did you say Donald or John?
Ilorin. I'm calling from Ilorin.
Doing from Ilorin. How is choir this morning?
Yeah, it's fine.
Good. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Doing. Go ahead with your take.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm actually very disappointed with the journalism. I'm actually very disappointed with the. Anyway, it's not too late. I don't know. I don't think you are helping the children by not revealing the states. It's not too late to reveal the states, please. you'll be actually doing the children lifetime favor by revealing the states.
Yeah.
It's quite pathetic.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much, Doyin, for that. And I also agree with you on that particular note. It's not about shaming. It's not about putting anybody in bad light. Kudos to the people responsible for the video, by the way. But a step further would have narrowed it down, making it ambiguous or just stating it broadly. We have 6 states in the northeast. Is this in Yobe? Is this in Gombe? Is this in Bauchi? Is this in, say, for instance, Borno State? Is this in Adamawa State? Is this in Taraba State? So it's quite confusing. However, though, if you had pointed it out to the locality, we all know what needs to come next. So I think that is equally important when it comes to addressing issues like this. So let's speak to our next caller. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Welcome to the program. Your name and where you're calling from.
Yes, my name is Salisu, calling from Kano.
Salisu from Kano. How is Kano this morning, by the way, Salisu? Hello, Salisu.
Well, actually, it's disheartening and it's unfortunate. And I believe almost most of the states in Nigeria, you can find such a deplorable condition of schools in our rural areas. And I think this is because of the lack of political will.
Yeah.
Most of our leaders now, they enjoy free education, comfortable education, sound education. But unfortunately, this is what we found ourselves. And I believe this is because of the leaders are now putting their children in private schools and don't even concern about the public schools where there is no facilities, no teachers. In fact, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
And I'll call on all the stakeholders in education sector, please look at this story. It's a wonderful report. It's a very, very comprehensive report. And this is exactly the situation in almost all the states.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. So unfortunate.
Thank you so much, Salisu. I hope you have a great day. Yeah, thank you so much for calling in. It's a wake-up call, to be honest. It's not necessarily more important to know which state that is, even though it's very important to the conversation we're having now. But I think we can all agree, even without, video evidence, that if you go across all the rural areas we have in Nigeria today, across every other state, you're bound to find something like this. You're bound to find it because governments have moved away from, comprehensively taking care of our rural communities. And that's why we keep having this rural-urban migration, because people in the rural communities feel like, listen, nothing is going to come our way. No sort of development is going to come our way. So let's go over to the cities where they seem to be having it, good. When it comes to road infrastructure, when it comes to security, when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to education, and that is what keeps happening over and over the years. Let's speak to our next caller then. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Are you still there? Okay, I think we should move right to the next caller. We might have lost a connection there. Feel free to call back again. The numbers are showing on your TV screen. We're talking about the state of schools in our communities, piggybacking off of a viral video reportedly from the northeastern part of the country showing what appears to be attached structure, because it's not even a building. It's not even touched properly. You look at that video and you just scratch your head and you wonder, how could anybody send their children to that for education? Hello, good morning.
Good morning. God bless you.
Thank you so much.
Ayodele Akelusi.
Ayodele Akelusi. From Oshogbo. Yes. Oh, good to hear from you. Go ahead, Mr. Ayo.
That's the unfortunate situation Nigeria has found himself. people contest for political office for pecuniary gains. They forgot that those they refuse to send to school and pay good attention to will be the bandits, the kidnappers, and the terrorists that will be terrorizing them tomorrow.
Yeah.
As a retired principal who has traversed the whole nation when it comes to secondary education, these type of structures are not supposed to be in Nigeria in the current dispensation.
Yeah.
Because we have UBEC and the State Primary Education Basic Commission, if they pay the counterpart fund, they are supposed to have developed all these areas. They will now be showing the same school over and over, repainting it, doing the same fence again, instead of going to the rural and doing what is supposed to be done. I pray and I hope those that have the fear of God in their mind, that Lord God will put them in position of power to see that the next generation coming up behind us will be appropriately trained and given the skills to survive as a nation. Thank you. God bless you.
Principal Ayodele, thank you so much for calling on the program. I appreciate you for taking the time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And hit the nail right on the head. Because as at the last count, 28 states have not accessed the UBEC counterpart funding because they did not prioritize education. And it's as simple as that. Because what you do get from that is additional funds so you can help develop the education sector in your state. But before you can access that fund, you have to come up with your own matching funds. We've had this conversation on this platform severally before, where some of the states are making excuses that why do they have to come up with matching grants before they access the funds? The funds should readily be available. Well, because for one, it shows intent, that you have the intention of actually spending on education, and that is why you want to access more money so you can develop education. And rightly, to someone who is experienced on the field as a former principal, pointing that out. And if 28 states, that's more than half of the nation, are not willing to set some monies aside to match those counterpart funding from UBEC so that they can access those funds, I think that is quite clear about their position when it comes to public education, because those funds are supposed to be responsible for building better schools, for equipping our schools, for science laboratories, for teaching aids, and so on and so forth. And if they're not doing that and they're using the no money or limited resources as an excuse, well, talk about the UBEC funding that you're not accessing. Some states have not accessed it for the past 8 years. I dare say even more than that. There's so many states on that list, and if you ask some of those governors, they would tell you that they are prioritizing education. And also, it goes a lot more to show about how we're poorly funding public education in the country. Let's speak to our next caller. Hello, good morning, and welcome to Daybreak Interactive. Your name and where you're calling from.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Your name, please, and where you're calling from.
My name is Joseph. I'm calling from Abuja.
Joseph from Abuja. It's good to hear from you, Joseph. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay. Yeah, I saw that video clip, and I think that is the true representation of most of the school in typical rural area. When I say typical rural area, these are some of these areas neglected by even the so-called local council before you even talk of the chairman. These places really exist and they are real. And I am happy that the person that posted it didn't indicate the place, because I know truly well that even the local government council and the chairman will not be happy that this man come before, a global television and say, this is what is happening in my local government. Because these people have a way of covering, I don't want to call it evil, covering things that are not right. Well, I thank God that the federal government is really pushing for the local government autonomy, because I think when that comes to play, most of these things will be reduced maybe to the barest minimum. If this were to be maybe during the time of election, I trust that maybe the way they come to their meal and, start eating granite or maybe corn, all in the name of I am with you, I am the same with you, and all of that. And refusing to give them that fundamental human right, those basic amenities that they are supposed to benefit as citizens with. It is very, very, very pathetic.
Yeah.
But this is true representation of what is happening in most of the typical areas that are not accessible.
Yeah.
Please, this should be, a call for, if possible, even a committee to be set in most of these states, so that they go into the deepest parts of the state, find out where children are suffering. Like, okay, tell me, where on earth will children be studying under this kind of roof? There is no roof over their head. Sun, rain, everything will be beating them. Well, I believe there will be solution.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joseph. As always, appreciate you for joining the conversation.
Thank you very much.
Joseph, they're putting it succinctly, what this issue represents, that there are so many forgotten communities, so many forgotten people in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. From the local governments, there are also another subset of people that do not feel the impact of government at any level, whether it's schools. I mean, so imagine, what about a hospital in that location? What about pipe drinking water, right? What about a primary healthcare facility? All of this. And you can understand the disenchantment or the resentment that builds up in communities like this, because they feel forgotten and they don't feel like, they are part of the system, or the system even recognizes their existence. Earlier, when Ayodele was calling in, he talked about how, the children that we don't educate today, and I think there's a famous Awolowo saying that, if we don't take care of the education today, we would likely pay for it in the near future. So that is also a significant part of the problem, that what we're doing today, or what we're failing to do today as a government or as people, as leaders, would definitely have repercussions going forward. And those consequences, we will be consequences as a society, even those of us who are just observers of developments like this, right? So there is a definite need for this to be a wake-up call, because this decay has gone on for such a very long time that we need to stop the bleeding now. Hello, good morning. Welcome to Daybreak Interactive. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Long time that we need to stop the bleeding now.
Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, good morning. Please turn down the volume of your TV set, state your name, your location, and then go ahead with your thoughts.
Okay, my name is Dudaba Isaiah John.
Please turn down the volume of your TV set.
Come again?
Okay, my name is from Jos.
Okay, I can still hear, the volume up, interfering with the conversation. Just turn it down a little bit so we can have a one-on-one conversation. And state your name again. I heard Jos, but I didn't get your name. So state your name again, and then go ahead.
Dudaba Isaiah John.
Jingaba Isaiah from Jos.
Yes.
Please go ahead, Jingaba.
Okay, I'm following your program this morning, and I want to a little bit contribute a little, because when you look at the community, I believe there's not everything we will rely on the government. Sometimes the community have a little effort they're supposed to have made. Looking at the structure, the way it is, when you look behind that building, I can see some fine buildings there. I believe they will have done a little effort on their own, even their children in this deplorable situation. It means the community itself. The community itself completely, they don't regard education. Because I'm working in the community today where I'm a teacher, where the community are the one that built some of our structures. And we have enough classes for our students. We have over 300 to 400 students in our school. And half of the building were built by the community. Yes, and we have a hall built by a councillor of the community.
Right.
We have this borehole with a very good tank built by somebody in the community.
So sometimes we'll be crying, the government neglected. With the population of Nigeria and the way how vast the country is, there are some areas that will suffer. We'll say the government will take over everything. By the time they will even be looking at some other communities, what was done in other communities must have, they need maintenance. So monies will be going back to some other areas that was already developed. So definitely, I think the community itself needs to be blamed. Looking at that very particular video, behind you will see good houses there with good zinc, not thatch. And if all the community are thatch houses, then I will agree with that, what I'm saying there. But I think we should blame first the leadership of the community, the chiefs in the community, everybody there. I think should be blamed, not just the government alone.
Okay, Jingaba, thank you so much for calling.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, appreciate you for calling in. While I do understand, your position on that, I beg to differ in the sense that the government is supposed to be the great equalizer, right? There are communities that vary in terms of wealth, in terms of opportunities, just because of their geography. For instance, you have opportunities that you can explore, right? Comparative advantage and whatnot. But also, if people willingly, voluntarily, because there are so many communities I've seen people volunteer their time as teachers to go and teach because they don't have enough staff. And to your point exactly, there are some communities that take up the responsibility of refurbishing, rehabilitating, and even providing new structures because they're trying to guarantee that development educationally for the next generation. However, that excuses the statutory responsibility of the government, because you look at the current state of affairs in this country, and I'm not excusing saying that the community cannot chip in. I don't know of the economic standing at this moment, but I think we would be excusing the government by not situating this problem properly. If there was a structure that needs to be maintained, I can understand why the community needs to step up to really provide that assistance because it is also to their own benefit. So you're right. And of course, in that, to point out that, people also need to contribute their own quota towards the development of the society in one way or the other. But when it comes to education, when it comes to our constitution and who is responsible for what, I think it's fair to say the ball is well within the court of the government to do the needful, especially when we talk about those matching grants, right? I know the government cannot provide everything 100%, but it's safe to say that they're doing the bare minimum, or in some cases, they're even failing to do the bare minimum to deliver the goods, as the case may be. Well, I would love for us to continue to go on and on, but that is all the time we have at the moment. Thank you all for joining the conversation, especially those experienced hands who have had some kind of experience in public education. Ayodele from Osun State, who was a former principal, and Jingaba, who is also a teacher, as well as all the other callers who called in to make meaningful contributions on this segment. Thank you most kindly for being a part of it. And if you tried unsuccessfully to join the conversation, but you were unable to, well, Daybreak Interactive will return tomorrow with yet another talking point. For now, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a moment to spotlight today's conversation on the program. Join us again.